You are listening to an exclusive preview of this week's episode of STF Underground.
Let's move into Double or Nothing and some predictions, and let's talk about who we think is going to be winning each and every match. Let's give some reasoning. This is for the fans. We want to know, too, if you guys agree, disagree. You'll probably mostly disagree with Mr. Main Event. Make sure that you guys let us know on our media.
Take that as a badge of honor, man.
Listen, it's not a popular opinion, but it's the correct opinion.
Oh,
in my mind, it's correct,
and that's all that matters.
It's the popular opinion to you. If you want the full bitter opinion, by the way, go listen to Bitter Smarks over there.
I've never heard of that.
Anyway, so let's start with the kickoff show or the pre-show. The
buy-in. They're doing such a good job with all of these names.
It's so good because really, I think that the biggest thing is that the two things announced for this are setting the tone, and they did. Normally you would think that having a match on this show would be a downgrade, but I'm thinking that the first match on the actual buy-in is going to be Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara to set the tone, and I think that Sammy Guevara is going to do exactly that. In my opinion, I love Sammy. We've had him on the show before. Man, he's annoying sometimes, but I definitely have Sammy Guevara picking up the win on this one. I think that he made himself famous for people watching the NWA 70, and he's been on Being the Elite. I think he's going to set the tone, pick up the victory against Kip Sabian.
Yep. I really want to disagree with you more throughout this thing, so I hope I do. But I think Sammy should have a rocket strapped to his back, and should be really somebody that could be one of the hottest stars for AEW, in the next few years moving through. So I think it starts at Double or Nothing. So I've got Sammy picking up the win.
You might see a trend in some of what I talk about here. I don't even know who Kip Sabian is. I hate to be that guy. I watch a lot of wrestling. It's not like I don't watch a lot of wrestling, and I'm not just talking about...
You probably watch more indies than all of us, honestly.
Yeah, maybe, potentially. So I feel bad for Kip Sabian because I don't know him and I can't give him an honest assessment. But I've seen Sammy Guevara, and I've really liked Sammy Guevara, and I will say he wins because I don't know who he is wrestling.
Clean sweep.
And for those that might not know Kip Sabian, I feel like this is an opportunity for people to be introduced to him because Sammy Guevara has been on Being the Elite. And for those that, don't know Sammy Guevara, subscribe to Sammy Guevara on YouTube, baby. As far as next on the buy-in, the much hyped at this point 21-man Casino Battle Royale. We have a lot of people announced now for this match, especially over the last week. We've seen guys like Luchasaurus. We've seen guys like Jungle Boy officially announced. We've got, obviously, MJF is announced for this, Joey Janela. If you guys want to know who Mr. Main Event thinks is going to win this, go back to listen last week's episode. But we're going to talk now a little bit more updated because we have the new Perfect 10 announcement with Sean Spears, a.k.a. Ty Dillinger, officially announced for this match. Fox, who do you got?
I'm so mad that this got announced an hour ago because I was literally going to say it would be awesome if Sean Spears, a.k.a. Ty Dillinger, came in and drew the number 10. How awesome would that be? And this was this stupid pipe dream, and then I refreshed my Twitter, and I was like, are you kidding me right now? Because I thought I was going to be real unique with that and hipster with that pick. But I know the popular pick seems to be Joey Janela, but I think I'm going to go with somebody that's not announced. That's my pick. And there's been a lot of talk Moxley and whatnot, but whoever it is, I think the winner is not currently announced. It's going to be a surprise entrant.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The list that I have here that's updated by Mr. dougEwrestling, so I assume it is 100% accurate and up to date. It has 17 people on the list, I believe, which leaves 4 spots available for surprises. The only thing that I kind of have a tough time getting over is if this is still in the pre-show, like how many surprises could you possibly have? You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of seems like a waste to me if this is still a pre-show battle royal to do, all of these surprises, or even, 1 or 2 big surprises.
See, I completely disagree. I feel like this is the time where you have a huge surprise, especially to win the match, to have somebody who might be on the fence who might not be ordering Double or Nothing, and who then says, holy crap, CM Punk is here, and he just made Mr. Main Event leave this show. I'm going to be ordering Double or Nothing.
That's fine, but I will also I will leave the arena and demand a refund if that happens. So for every one extra person ordering, I will be taking a ticket back.
Yeah, I don't think that they should give out their biggest surprise if it is a CM Punk's. I don't know if it's something like that, but definitely is going to bring a lot of excitement. So whoever it is going to be, I still stick with it's going to be a high profile surprise entrant, and this is somebody that's going to have a championship match. So it's going to be a high profile person, in my opinion.
Yeah, and to go with what you're saying, Fox, I completely agree with you. I think it's going to be a big name. I don't think it's going to be a CM Punk. I think they're going to reserve him for the alleged Chicago show. But I think that this is the part where Jon Moxley comes out. Plus, shows in Vegas. Guess who lives in Vegas?
Renee Young.
Exactly. As far as what opens the show, who do you guys have opening the show? Is there any match that you guys see here on the card that kind of calls out to you as far as, who's going to open up?
I'd be honest, I don't know, right? Because I'm grown up and groomed in the WWE style, so it's like there's a pattern to, what opens up the show. But it's going to be really a high-flying, something that really starts the show out hot. My prediction is that it's the SCU versus OWE match. I think that's going to be like MME said, it's going to be a stunt show from those guys, and I think that'll be a great way to get the crowd really rocking right off the bat.
Yeah, I agree with Fox 100%. I think it's the way to go. You need to start hot. What better way? SCU is huge. I mean, Christopher Daniels, I've been watching Christopher Daniels wrestle since I can remember having memories. A 3-on-3 match. But yeah, for sure, it's got to be a 3-on-3. It's got to be the hot start. It's got to be that match. It's got to be SCU.
Yeah, I'm going 3 for 3 here on that one, gentlemen. I think that I'm calling for that match too. It was really between 2 matches for me. I had either the Angelico and Jack Evans against the Best Friends starting, just because I think that match could also show some high flying with Angelico and Jack Evans, and then also some comedy with the Best Friends, and I think that sets the tone for maybe what AEW is going to be. But having such a big name with SCU starting the show, and then obviously OWE, I think that would be a really, really good way to start the show. So, with that in mind, let's talk about that match. Going to SCU versus the Strong Hearts. We've got obviously the Strong Hearts here, OWE guys, Shima, T-Hawk, El Lindemann. Who do you got, Fox?
I've got OWE. I think that to me, this is because SCU basically they're behind the scenes. They have they're in charge. or at least have a stake in AEW. So for me, I think that they want to make sure that they have that relationship, with those guys, and that to me is what better way to do that than to let them go over, and it'll be, they don't lose. SCU doesn't lose anything by losing to them, but letting three guys who maybe a lot of the crowd may not be as familiar with get that win. That's a big way to put those guys on the map, at least here for the more casual viewer who's unfamiliar with them.
Fox, you and me on the same page again. What's happening right now?
Stop copying my notes.
That's exactly what
I'm the AEW expert, remember?
That's exactly what I have. Strong Hearts with Shima T. Hawk and El Lindemann. I feel like this is the partnership with OWE that they have to show off, and this is the people, the right people to win it, and the right people to put them over, because SCU doesn't need a win as much as the OWE Strong Hearts do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it legitimizes them in the eyes of like U.S. fans who, like I said, may not know these guys.
Yeah, bring it in for a group hug, guys. Strong Hearts, put them over.
This show is boring. All you guys do is agree with each other.
We're like Fox
God.
News.
The problem is you guys say I'm normally wrong, so if I am wrong, you guys will also be wrong in all of these matches.
Can I change my response?
You could almost say we're going all in here.
Oh.
Well, let's talk about the next match here. The match that I thought really could be a starter for this as well. Best Friends, which is Trent and I forget the name of the other guy, versus Angelico and Jack Evans.
Chuck Taylor.
I know. It's Mr. Main Event's the only guy they follow on Instagram is Chucky T.
Oh, are you serious?
So
I don't know if you heard me just slamming doors in the background out of anger. Yeah, I got Best Friends, Doug. I got Best Friends winning. I got this being the main event. Not really, but it should be the main event. But yeah, Best Friends for life, the number one tag team in the world. I don't know. You guys agree? Yeah, you do.
I'm going to say Angelico and Jack Evans on this one. I think that there was so much hype in the video for Angelico to have them lose, and I feel like Chucky T is such a funny heel right now with that whole death threat thing with Trent. I would love to see like Mrs. Matt come in and cost them the match and, kind of do the whole never threaten our family again and leading to the victory for Angelico and Jack Evans.
There's going to be a lot of texts from me going, hey, who was that guy or who was that gal throughout the show. So I just let you know that. Doug, eventually we're going to disagree, but I've got Angelico and Jack Evans winning as well. I think that the Best Friends, I think they were supposed to originally be in the Casino Battle Royale. Am I right? And then he kind of made a big deal about we're not doing that. But so this is a little bit of a dream tag team match for folks that are really familiar with them, because I think it's going to be really, really high flying. And I love that video when Angelico signed. It was in 2 minutes. I was like invested.
Oh yeah, he's freaking awesome, and yeah, I think that's going to be a good, really exciting match. And maybe I'll even secretly cheer for, Chucky T.
Listen, I don't know who those other two guys are, but they stand no chance.
As far as the next match goes here, let's talk Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, Emi Sakura against Hikaru Shida, Rihu, and Ryo Mizunami.
Oh, so close.
So close.
Until I tongue twisted there. So I'm going to get it to you, Mr. Main Event. Who do you got?
I know nothing about this match. I don't know if these are real people. Give me something original. Pardon my ignorance, but I just want to see a good match out of it, and it's the first time I'm going to be seeing any of them. So I can't wait. I hope it's exciting, but I really don't know anything about it. Let's go with Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazawa, Zaki, I apologize, and
gonna-
Emi Sakura.
Emi Yakaguchi, come on, man.
Hey, I apologize for my ignorance. Okay,
I think you pronounce it better than Doug anyway. It's fine.
that's true.
All right, well, I'm gonna jump in here with my prediction. I wasn't super familiar with these 6 women, but I just was interested in it because AEW is really making a big deal out of the women on their roster. There's obviously the triple threat as well, but this to me is a kind of a cool way to showcase the women in Japan. Am I wrong in that I think was Aja Kong, wasn't she in the WWF in the 90s?
I don't know if she's been in WWF, but I know she's been wrestling for a long time. She's the legend in this match, so to speak. So
yeah, I was gonna say, well, and even like Emi Sakura is she's been wrestling for a while too. So I don't know enough about it, but I think because there are those 2 veterans in the match, I think they win. But I agree with MME. Is like I love kind of going into some of these matches being like, cool, make a first impression on me because I don't know jack.
And that's the team that I have too. I have Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura. Mostly for a couple of reasons. And some fans might be listening to us who know these people, and you're right. Some of us might not know these people, but I think that's the point with AEW is that they're bringing in people that aren't well known that we are excited to find out about. Yuka Sakazaki for me at the ROH and New Japan Pro Wrestling Super Show, Supercard in WrestleMania weekend, she was the one that actually wowed me a lot during her match, and which just led me to just say she is a star easily in this, and I definitely think that she could be a huge person to be making her impact felt during this match.
Yeah, I think we're all saying the same thing too. Like you guys are saying it eloquently, and I'm saying it, the way that you say it when you have a public school education. But yeah, we're all excited for it. It's just we don't know too much about the people involved.
Let's talk about the other women's match and maybe some more familiar names here to the U.S. folk here. Dr. Britt Baker against Nyla Rose versus Smiley Kylie Rae. For me, I'm a Chicago guy. I, have loved knowing and watching Kylie Rae being built fantastically. She is a star, and she does Bayley better than Bayley does, as much as Bayley is hot right now. Kylie Rae is going to be a freaking star, and I think that this is where people are going to see that. I have Kylie in this one for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you, Doug. It's hard to not be biased. We've been lucky enough to see her wrestle many, many times. And while people who don't know who she is call her Bayley Light, you're right. She is above Bayley. At least, that's my opinion. But yeah, I'm going Kylie Rae all the way.
Thank God we're not sweeping. I was getting really worried we were somehow, I don't know, in each other's brains or something. But I'm actually going Nyla Rose. This is nothing against Kylie Rae or Britt Baker. I think that those two are going to play the baby faces perfectly. You're going to get the crowd behind them, especially with how popular Kylie Rae is and really being able to kind of, get cheered on to overcome. But to me, I think that it's the smart thing to do Nyla Rose is super intimidating, and I think that there needs to be this undefeated monster, right, in that division. So I think I'm going to go with Nyla Rose. I think she needs to keep that unstoppable persona intact, especially once they go into television and more shows.
So here's my thing with that, and with Nyla Rose, I think that if she's going to lose any match, it's a triple threat. It's that Brock Lesnar effect where she can still look like a monster but still lose that match. And I think that what she can do to still put herself over is Kylie, Britt, whoever wins this match, Nyla attacks afterwards, cementing herself as the top woman beast heel that is just going to crush everybody.
Well, I guess we had the same plan for her character. It's just a matter of how they get there. Because in a triple threat, you can also say that, Kylie Ray is not going to get pinned because of triple threat rules. And
Definitely.
So then you can kind of say she was never pinned either. So you can go both ways with this. But for me, I've got the dominant one.
As far as next match, brother versus brother, we have Stardust versus Goldust, or Cody versus
Darth
Dustin.
Maul.
Brother versus brother versus brother. It's this is a match that I'm really looking forward to it. I grew up a huge Dusty Rhodes fan. I like Cody Rhodes. I like Dustin Runnels. All of them. Who's going to win? I'd have to say Cody, right? Is Dustin going to be in this for the long term, do you guys know? Or is this kind of like a one-time thing? Or?
As far as I know, he doesn't officially have a AEW contract, but I wouldn't put it past them to use him occasionally and as a backstage producer as well.
I just think it's a cool match idea, and I'll take whoever you guys don't take, just so we're not on the same page. How about that?
Well, I thought I've got Cody winning because for me, this seems very much like his last hurrah. That's Dustin's last hurrah. I feel like it's because the promos have been so good. I've loved the promos. I mean, they're so old school attitude style. Like, it reminded me of the Shawn Michaels Ric Flair one where, kind of put Old Yeller down, right? And just the way that they've shot it and the way that they've kind of talked about Dustin's career, saying he's done it all and everything like that. But I think this is going to be a lot better than people expect, maybe. And to me, I think it's kind of Cody retiring his brother.
So this is a multifaceted match for me because my initial thought, and the pick that I am going with is I do think that Dustin is going to win this match. And it's really just because I don't think that Cody needs to win this match. And on top of that, we can't have the Elite winning them all, right? So I do think that as kind of a last hurrah, sending out Dustin the right way. But that said, with the promos that Cody had, that essentially Dustin is representing the Attitude Era and Cody is representing this new era, it's kind of like, can you let Dustin beat Cody with that in mind of what they're actually representing? Either way, I think that what happens at the very end of it all is a handshake of the mutual respect between the two, which is essentially the symbolism for the Attitude Era guys respecting the New Era guys.
Yeah, kind of doesn't need to be a quote-unquote passing of the torch, but I thought that no matter what is said before the match, I think it ends in a hug or something like that.
Since you guys are split on the decision, I guess I'll have to take a double count out or something. I don't know how this works. I'll go with Cody for the win. How about that?
How ironic that MME went with the Dusty finish.
Young Bucks defending their AAA championship against Pentagon, Phoenix, the Lucha Brothers.
Man, this is the number 2 and number 3 best tag teams in the world behind Best Friends.
Oh my God.
I can't wait for it, to be honest with you. The Young Bucks at All In didn't get to finish the match. I hope they finish this match. It's going to be the best match on the card. I mean, it has to be. It has to be.
I think the Young Bucks and Mysterio in that 6-man tag had like one of the greatest 6-minute matches of all time. I was like, they are cramming so much into this, but I've got the Lucha Brothers winning. Like you said, the Elite can't win all of them, and the Lucha Brothers are money, and they are, in my opinion, one of the top 2 tag teams in the world, and I think it's going to be so good. And they've done such a great job building it with no TV, nothing. Like, they just showed up and really kicked it off into high gear when they took the AAA titles.
Yeah, I've got the Lucha Brothers too. I think that it makes sense for them to take it back to Mexico. I don't think the Bucks are going to be doing that, and I don't know if the Lucha Brothers have officially even signed a contract yet, and if they've mentioned that. I know that they likely will if they haven't already. But for right now, I think that the Lucha Brothers are the ones that are more likely to go back to Mexico, legitimize somebody else down there in AAA, and be able to come back once TV starts in October.
Yeah, I hope this isn't as predictable as we think it is. I forgot to mention my pick, but yeah, I got the Lucha Bros as well.
But I have to say too, like, predictability is okay. I was talking to somebody about this earlier, and I think that if predictability makes sense in these matches, then that's okay with me. I don't need some type of crazy surprise or anything like that, which every single time. But I do think that these kind of matches and what we're calling out makes sense for the most part, except for the best friends winning.
All right, I gotta go.
As far as the last match here, and maybe I'll surprise you guys with my prediction here. So Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, these two guys going at it one more time. Fox, I know you're excited about this one. Who do you got, brother?
Oh man, the Jericho mark in me, the Jerichoholic wants him to win so bad. But actually, I actually don't want him to win. I think Jericho has made a career, putting guys over and remaining strong and continuing to be a Renaissance man. I'm really excited for this. I thought that the Wrestle Kingdom 12 match was so good. I mean, it was like
so good.
It was a side of Chris Jericho that I hadn't seen, just the style and the way that he was executing, and he's changed his style up a little bit now. He's a little bit more like MMA now, which is kind of cool. So he's constantly kind of reworking his toolkit. But I've got Kenny winning. I think Kenny's going to be the top of the AEW mountain, and it makes sense. So that's Kenny going 2-0 against Jericho.
Yeah, and since Kenny won the first one, I'm going to take Jericho to win this one, and they'll have a payoff match at All In 2, which we're assuming is going to happen. Yeah, I'm going to go with Jericho on this. I like the stuff that he's been doing where he's basically saying all of AEW's success is because of him. And I'd like for it to go on a little bit longer with more stuff for him to brag about. So I'd like to see him get that win and kind of further things along with Omega.
So I think the details on this one for me are in the story. And Mr. Main Event, you alluded to it there as far as Jericho, and he's the one that AEW is the reason for, their success. And I think that it also comes down to the whole Cody Rhodes thing and the feud that they've been building up with Jericho and Cody. And this is another big reason why I have Cody losing his match earlier. I have Jericho winning by disqualification, and Jericho has been calling for an apology, a thank you from Cody when when Jericho wins a match. So what I see happening is Jericho hits his new finishing move, which he's been calling the Judas effect, and Cody comes out, causes the DQ by attacking Jericho. Jericho is laid out, bloodied. Cody grabs a mic, looks down at Jericho, and says, "Thank you." Show over.
Yeah, I've loved the dynamic between them, and they've built it up so well. Definitely going to be a marquee match down the line. Jericho is playing that prima donna so well, but he's kind of had this psychopath edge to his character now and everything like that. But just him being in Cody's office, I was like, I'm watching these Road to All In things on YouTube, and I'm like, if this is how like the TV show is going to be, I can't wait, because it's just compelling, and they're able to do so much in such a short period of time. It shows a lot of discipline in terms of like, all right, we need to get these points across in 8 minutes.
Yeah, those have been it's been a great series leading up to it. I'm actually going with a friend of mine, two friends of mine, but one of them who doesn't really pay attention to any of this. I've showed him those Road to Double or Nothing. He's hooked. He's absolutely hooked. And like you're saying, the way that they're written and how short they are, I mean, it's perfect. I hope the TV, like you're saying, is exactly that way. And it looks like Doug is trying to get a writing job over there as well with his booking over here.
Trying to. Dream come true.
Hey, I'll ride your coattails to the top.
Mr. Main Event, what closes the show? What do you think? Do you have Kenny and Jericho closing the show, or what do you have closing the show?
Best friends and no, I have the Young Bucks and Lucha Bros for a couple of reasons. One, the Bucks got the shaft at All In and had to shorten their match, so I think it's cool to give them a full main event here. And kind of like we've been talking with the Oriental wrestling things, I think it furthers the relationship with AAA to have that match, have their titles as a main event. It's kind of good graces with them too. So I don't think they lose anything by having that there. The Young Bucks are the most popular tag team in the world, So, yeah, I got Young Bucks and Lucha Bros.
Yeah, I'd say I agree with MME on that. I know that Kenny Jericho is really one of the highest profile matches on the card, but I think that Lucha Bros and the Bucks are the main event for a few reasons. The MME, great call there on spotlighting AAA and things like that. For me, I think that one of the big calling cards of AEW is how they can differentiate themselves from the WWE and focusing on stellar tag team wrestling, showing that tag team wrestling has every right to be main event caliber, even if there's a world championship on the card, to me is showing instead of telling. And so for me, for that reason, and I just think that's going to be probably the best match on the card. So I think for those reasons that's going to be the main event.
I think that they are definitely looking to focus on tag team wrestling and show that it can be the main event, which is why I think that they did that at All In. Obviously, with the scenario that I laid out there, I have the last scene of the show being Cody standing over Jericho, and I think that would be a great way to close out the show, with obviously Kenny and Jericho being the final match. I do foresee a bunch of surprises. We talked about a couple of them in the Casino Battle Royale. As far as other surprises, is there anybody that you guys have showing up, or anything unexpected that we don't, is not on paper, essentially?
I don't know. I think between MME and I, we can count on one hand the number of people that we know that could show up. I think we've already talked about the surprises. Would be awesome to see some of the folks that I was able to catch, on the independent scene and on the AEW shows and the shows that are here in Chicago. But I really have no idea. But I'll be excited to see. And if there are someone that comes out that I don't know, that's part of the fun as well. That's part of the fun of going, okay, well, I want to know who that person is, or why is everyone kind of losing their minds? Yeah,
I'm excited to see if there's going to be surprises and who it would be. I don't really have any guesses. I'll go with a really obscure one for you. How about Terry Runnels comes out with Dustin?
Wow. That would be amazing.
Dude, you would get all the points if this was some kind of fantasy game where it's points for obscure guesses, like one of those Vegas odds. Man, you would get massive points for that.
One of these times, one of these ideas is going to hit, and I'm going to look like a genius.
And hey, then I'll ride your coattails. I'll be like, this man knows what he's talking about.
I was thinking through and thinking of who do we is not booked on this card that could show up. And there's a lot of people at StarCast that are booked for StarCast, and I'm not going to begin speculating as far as who might be there, other than TJP, who, by the way, we're interviewing here in just a little bit, and you guys can stay tuned to listen to his interview. Cheap plug. But
Like what you heard? New episodes drop every week. If you want more content, follow us on Facebook at STF Underground Podcast or on Twitter and Instagram at STF Underground.